The Leafs have made multiple surprising moves ahead of what's going to be an extremely interesting week with the trade deadline approaching. Brad Living has already started to make some moves as it pertains to the current roster. We're going to break down those moves as well as discuss multiple updates ahead of tonight's game against the Sharks, but also one specific player that Leafs fans have been clamoring to return is making his return. Stay tuned for all that in this episode, folks. Before we get into it, if you're part of the 71% who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Leafs content. We just hit 15,000 subscribers, so thank you guys for your continued support. We're on the road now to 16,000, and I will be live following tonight's game as well. We'll be live there. But Darius, it's been a very interesting past couple days. A huge win yesterday, a fantastic win against Kyle Dubas and the Pittsburgh Penguins. But now we shift our focus to not only the Sharks, but some moves that the Leafs are making. Not only moves the Leafs are making, there's going to be more moves on the horizon in the form of a trade. But I want to dive into this because there's a few different things revolving these moves, a couple different implications here. But they sent down forward Alex Steeves and Marshall Rafai per puck Pedia. Now, Marshall Rafai, we didn't really see him much at all. But Alex Steeves, we were seeing dangling in between the third and fourth line, dangling in and out of the lineup. He is now officially sent down, and a couple different reasons for this.
Yeah, there's a couple reasons for this. And first of all, against the San Jose Sharks, obviously, Nick, you're going to be there for the stream. I won't be because I'll actually be at the game, but I'll be back for a stream later this week. And it's going to be a busy month between the trade deadline coming up later this week and obviously how many games they play this month. It's going to be a very exciting month. But a couple reasons for this. Obviously, we heard yesterday that Calle Järnkrok will be returning tonight in a pretty surprising report, right? Like, I think that we knew that he was nearing a return, but this was very quick. I guess he got the okay already. So he's actually going to return to the lineup in a season where I thought was going to be lost for him. I did not think he was going to play this year. So it's going to be very interesting heading into the deadline this week. The timing is insane to try and make the salary cap work, but he will be returning. The other thing here, obviously, they had to make room for Calle Järnkrok in terms of roster spots. So they had to send a couple guys down. That makes sense. At the same time, Alex Steeves was creeping up on his waiver eligibility. So if they waited a couple more days, I believe it was like 3 more days after this, he would have had to go through waivers if they sent him back down. And that is trouble. Like, you do not want to deal with that. So sending him back down right now was a very smart move. And I think we all knew it had to come with a couple injuries. And, you know, he has been playing well. And I think that maybe there was a role for him on this team if he was, you know, continuing to play well. But we know what their plans are. They're going to add at the deadline. Brad Living already said it, right? It might not be a big splash, but they're going to add at the deadline. So not an entire, you know, crazy surprise that he's being sent down, but it makes a lot of sense because if they waited and he had to go through waivers, I would imagine some team out there, like San Jose, for example, would claim him.
Yeah, he's been setting Marley's records with goal scoring, points, all these different things. And yeah, the biggest surprise here, I'm a little bit surprised it sent him down because of how active he's been in the lineup. And there were some talks from fans saying they want him in the rest of the season. But Calle Järnkrok is officially back. The move was made. It was announced yesterday night, but now it's confirmed. Like, he's going to be back in tonight's game. And for a guy who we didn't think was going to get in at all, he is making his debut tonight. This year, Leafs forever sent down Rafai and Steeves. They now have $2.98 million of cap space in LTIR with 21 active players. LTIR, Järnkrok, Hakanpää, IR, Pacioretty, Tanev. If they activate Järnkrok, which they will, and by the time the game happens, it'll 100% be done. They'll have $877,000 remaining in the LTIR by the time the game starts tonight. So this is very interesting now because, like you mentioned, moves were going to have to be made. They announced yesterday Järnkrok is back. Fantastic progress for him. But as it pertains to actually Calle Järnkrok, he is going to really make things interesting for this team because he's going to factor in now, whether that be on the third line, probably you would assume the third line. But man, oh man, to see him back, this is going to, if he can produce at any level that can help the third and fourth line, it makes the acquisitions that Brad Living are going to go for a little bit more interesting because it seems like the asking price for a lot of these trades, and we'll have tons of trade videos coming out, is astronomically high for these players.
Yeah, like this quite literally, I think, changes a lot this week with him coming back because, like I mentioned, I thought we were going to lose this season of Calle Järnkrok. I did not think he was going to play this year or they were going to wait till the playoffs. So him coming back this week especially is crazy because they're adding his salary to the books and it's going to make things that much more difficult to get a trade done. Although, you know, you can always move out Max Domi, something like that. Like, something's going to happen here and something has to give. There's no way after what Brad Living said yesterday, they don't make a move. They're going to make a move. I just don't know if it's a big fish, right? So this really changes things up a lot. They're going to add $2 million with Järnkrok Järnkrok's salary on the books now. We don't know what's going to happen with Hawk and Paw. They obviously want to add at the deadline, so it's going to be interesting. But like you alluded to too, if he's even close to what he was before this injury, like last year in previous years, what we've seen, he can produce. He's a pretty good player. I really like him, right? I was saying at the start of the year, maybe move him for more guys who kind of play like McMahon, if you could possibly get that, or maybe a Scott Lawton. But now that we know what the price is, maybe you stick with a Calle Järnkrok, and that's kind of your answer there in the third line. Not at center, of course. I think they still have to find a solution there. But I think that if he is able to produce and play, time will tell. They're saying that he looks good in practice and all this stuff, but let's see him in a game. And I'm going to see him play live tonight, so I'll be able to kind of see what he has in the tank as well from that perspective. And I'm sure Brad Treliving is going to be watching this game very closely because, again, I imagine that a trade comes down Tuesday. I don't think that they're going to wait till the deadline. They're going to see what they have in each player here. I know it's against the Sharks, which is pretty funny, but I think they're going to have to, see what they have in each player here. And I do wonder if they're looking at Max Domi like, maybe we're going to trade him. I know he scored last night, yesterday afternoon, but that could be an option as well. So it's going to be very interesting. I think this really changes things this week. Adding Calle Järnkrok to the lineup, but one thing's clear: we know that they need a center and a third line center, and I wonder if they add at D2. But it makes things difficult adding $2 million to your books now.
Yeah, Brad Treliving spoke about adding a defenseman. They might go there, but he also spoke about the depth of defenseman that they added in the offseason. As it pertains to the center, people are saying that this could be seen as a kind of like a pseudo addition at the trade deadline, I guess, even though we're a week ahead of it with Calle Järnkrok, because if he comes back and he, like you mentioned, plays 80% of what he was last year, it's still better than what they were currently rocking. That makes a guy like Max Domi expendable, which works out well because his salary lines up with a lot of the third line center type players that the Leafs are looking to go after, or even bigger fish. He would have to be a part of any of those deals. So it's very interesting. Let us know down below what your thoughts are on all that. As Järnkrok returns, Steves, all those players are sent down. It was a little bit of a good run for Alex Steves, but it's focusing on a little bit of other things here. So William Nylander came out and spoke about the game. It was a lot of fun. Maybe not so fun for the coaches, but it was fun for us players. Talking about, of course, yesterday's win against the Pittsburgh Penguins. It was a crazy game, but Matthews spoke out, becoming the second highest goal scorer in Leaf history. And, Leaf history, he said, an honor to be in the same sentence as Daryl Sittler. He paved the way for a lot of us. So as the Leafs continue to make a push now, they are number one in the Atlantic Division. They have to continue to hold on. You have teams like the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think have won like 8 in a row now, something crazy. You have to continue to win these games. And I saw some people in my stream yesterday. They said this is a trap game tomorrow, or today, I guess. In the stream, they said for tomorrow. But for tonight's game, the trap would be against the San Jose Sharks. They need to take care of business. Stolarz is going to be out there, the better goalie of the two. Tanev is going to miss this game again. And you just need to win tonight's game. And ultimately, hopefully, Austin Matthews, the goalie scored a couple nights ago, can start to get going, because the Leafs have been unstoppable lately. 13-3 in their last 16 road games, 5 wins in a row. 27-0 when leading after 2 periods. An absurd stat, and things are good. I think there's also a crazy stat about them if they lead at any point in the third period, that they win, they're undefeated or something like that. So, team is rolling.
The craziest stat, we've talked about the goaltending. Austin Matthews is now second all time in Leafs goal scoring. He's 27 years old. Insane, right? Like, we're going to get to that in a second. The craziest stat that, came to my attention yesterday, after the game for the Leafs this season, is the fact that they are undefeated going into the third period when they have the lead. I mean, for a team where the narrative when they were coached by Sheldon Keefe was to always give up the lead, this year, night and day. Like, that is the most insane stat so far this year to me. I had no idea that's what the stat was. To be undefeated going into the third period with a lead is crazy to me, considering, again, what the narrative was with this team. So huge improvement. But to go back to Austin Matthews, second all time in Leafs scoring, and he's quickly catching up to Matt Sundin. If he was not injured and didn't miss time this season, he would be even closer to that mark. So we are quite literally witnessing history with this player and greatness. I know, playoff success hasn't really followed with him, but obviously it falls on everyone's shoulders as well. And, Mitch Marner, John Tavares, all these guys, it's not just Austin Matthews, but, at some point you'd like to think that they're going to break through. Maybe it is this year, but at the same time, we are witnessing greatness with Austin Matthews. We are literally watching in real time right now the Leafs all-time leading goal scorer. So it's going to be pretty crazy as he creeps up on the record there, Matt Sundin's record, but it's been great. And his goal yesterday was crazy. Like, the puck went in and out insanely fast. Matthew Nye's goal was crazy, and like Nylander alluded to too, sometimes you like those crazy games.
Yeah, got to continue to win these games, and hopefully this is the start of a special run as the Leafs continue to absolutely, I feel like they're winning so many games that it almost becomes numb a little bit how many games they're actually
Yeah.
winning. They've lost one game in their last 9, and that's been over the span of 2 to 3 weeks. But that'll wrap it up. Let us know down below what your thoughts are on this. Tons of new updates coming. We'll be live following game tonight. See you guys later.